Matt Rhule, Nebraska football coach, will validate everything I just said. Be honest, the first time you went to Omaha, you were like, this place is cool. Am I right?
100% right. It's a great city, great town.
Great town. So you got an 8-year deal, so you got time to turn this puppy around. The NFL's never going to give anybody that, okay? I mean, even Belichick now gets heat. The NIL, the transfer portal, actually, I watched Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley buy half a football team or however they got them there. Does it feel like, hey, when you got into this business, it took 4 years, but in 2 years, you could change your roster. Is that realistic now?
Yeah, I think some of the rules that were lifted, when I went to Baylor, it was, obviously we're coming off a scandal. We didn't get to 85 scholarship players the first year. You could only bring in like 25. Now we brought in 40 new players. And so along with the transfer rules, they've loosened some of the rules in terms of how many guys you can bring. So you can really turn things around way quicker. So,
and when I say buy players, I mean, it's the NIL. It's all this stuff 2 years ago would have been illegal, and now it's understood. Players get compensation. Is it weird? So you've done the old school way in college. You've done pro football. Now you enter college that feels more like pro football. Is it odd? Is it uncomfortable? How does it, I can't even figure out what's legal, what's not. What is it like now for you?
I think being in the NFL, really helped me. You kind of go through this period, there's the free agency period. And I think what I learned was like, hey, let everyone go handle their business, handle their money. And when they come back, they're kind of signed up. And so getting to the college and now with the NIL, and I don't think there's anything wrong with investing in young people. I don't think there's anything wrong with, guys being able to have some money to fly their parents to a game or, obviously people are all different levels of the spectrum, but I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think, we just try to deal with it honestly and straightforward. And most young people, I think they respect that.
It's interesting. It used to be there were pro football coaches in college, and some people still believe there's a stigma, but I've seen too many college guys go to pro. By the way, you had been an assistant in pro, so you're like Tom Coughlin. You've done both. You've gone back and forth. It feels like to me now that the NFL watches Saturday football and steals stuff. It didn't feel like that in the 60s. But as I watch pro football, I'm like, I thought I saw that at Florida State. I saw that at Oregon. Did you feel that when you were in the NFL, that they're watching Saturdays more than they used to?
100%. I remember back at the Giants, Perry Fuel was our DC, and I actually went in and gave a presentation on kind of like the spread offense and zone read and how to defend it, because that was the world I had lived when I was at Temple, and it was new to a lot of guys. And I think it's come a long way. And my first year in Carolina, we started playing some like 3-down, 3-3 stack, which is pretty prevalent on defense in college. And everyone kind of mocked it a little bit, like, they're doing this college stuff. And I'm watching on Sundays now, and there's a ton of people doing it. So everything's cyclical. Everyone's stealing from everybody. We're watching the NFL, and I know NFL guys are watching college.
So Washington, UCLA, Oregon, USC next year come into the conference. You did very well in the Northeast. You did well in the Big 12. Now you're in the Big 10. Stylistically, you're looking at film now. Stylistically, what does the Big Ten do really, really well, Matt? Like, as you watch film and you think, I've been around the country, wow, I got to figure this out.
Yeah, I think the defenses in the Big Ten do a great job. I mean, they just smother you. They're physical. They keep everything in front of you. They're built to play in November and December. When you're in the ACC or the SEC, you're maybe not dealing with the same elements that you're dealing with in the Big Ten, at least as it stands now. So I think that's the biggest thing for us, and I think you look at the offensive linemen in the Big Ten, and, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, the most guys drafted. So you're looking at big, powerful, physical offensive lines, big, powerful defenses, and it's a game built for playing in the weather.
The NFL experience is fascinating. Nick Saban figured this out. Steve Spurrier figured this out. A lot of it is, who's your owner? Whereas you can have a conversation with a school president and an athletic director, and you're all kind of on the same page. You all have the same vision and goals. A billionaire comes in after a bad weekend. He may have a different opinion than you on the world. When you go, look, are you glad you went to the NFL? Did you gain something from it, though it wasn't viewed as successful win-loss record?
Yeah, I really appreciated my time. I hate it for my family that they had to move and then move again a couple of years later. But, Colin, I feel like I'm a much better coach now after having been through that. I mean, just to have a chance to coach Christian McCaffrey or Stephon Gilmore or J.C. Horn, Brian Burns, to be around guys like that, to see excellence at its highest level. I loved all the people I worked with. And, for me, it was the first time I really had a lot of adversity, so to be able to deal with adversity, to be in the pro game, like I had a chance to go be on the same practice field with Bill Belichick, and I watched him work. And, I'm a different coach now at practice. I basically just stole what I saw him do, and I do it. So it obviously wasn't a success, but I'm proud of what we did. And that's unique to people maybe, but I felt like we were heading in the right direction. It didn't work out. I'm a way better coach now after having been through all of it.
So you got a quarterback, Sims from Georgia Tech. Most of your top players, I look at your depth chart, the guys that get notable players are offensive players. Your background is scoring points quickly. So you had Temple and Baylor. It took a while to ramp up. You got better every year at both, but it took a while to ramp up. Should you be viable this year?
Yeah, I think so. I told our guys the other day, it usually takes me 3 years, and I wish I could do it faster. I'm just not smart enough to be able to do it in 1 year. But there's a bunch of guys on this roster that are seniors, man. So it's either is it Matt Rhule, Coach Rhule's year 1, or is it your guys' year 4? And if guys like Jeff Sims, if guys like all the great juniors and seniors we have, if they make it their team, then I think Colin will be a team that people have to deal with, week in and week out. If it's me, then better wait for year 2 and year 3. So our guys have really taken the bull by the horns. One thing about being at Nebraska is these guys, they love the University of Nebraska. They love being Cornhuskers, and they want to be the team that gets us back on track.
Yeah, I remember going to a game years ago. I was a play-by-play guy out of college for UNLV, and they got whacked. But I remember Nebraska fans cheering them as they left the field. It's such a unique environment. It's like the nicest people in the world. But they have expectations, and there's a lot of ghosts around there that won a lot of games, and they're very hard on their coaches in a nice way, in a civil way. So they say the nice stuff and they're nice people, but by year 2, by the end of it, they want some W's. How do you preface it when you go in and talk about expectations? And I'm a booster, I'm a fan, I've been going for 40 years. I want to win, coach. What do you tell them?
I think people have, they're at a point now where it's been 7 or 8 years, and I think people are just hungry for a step in the right direction, and so, and I think people are excited about the things that we've done, the way we've recruited, the way we've tried to get around the state. I know people want to win, but they also want to do things kind of the Nebraska way, and
right.
Like for me, like being here, Colin, is it's like college football's version of like chicken soup for the soul. Like this is great people. I mean, Tom Osborne came up the other day just to shake my hand and wish me luck in the first game. Like, you want to talk to someone like me that loves college football, it's like I'm pinching myself. So, yes, there's expectations and people want us to win, but we also need to kind of go back to playing in the way that Nebraska's used to. We need to be a physical team. We need to be a hard-nosed team.
Yes.
We can't lose games in the fourth quarter.
Finally, you've coached under Coughlin. You've coached against Belichick and those guys, and in college. If I said to you, who's a coach you went up against, and you came out of that chess match and went, man, that guy's a good coach. That guy's a good coach. Who?
And he's not, I don't know him personally very well, but I always thought Mike Gundy did more with not as much as everybody else. Never had like the 4- and 5-star recruiting classes, but like he was going to find a way to win 9, 10, 11 games every year. And every game that you went into, you thought you were a step ahead of him, and then bang, he was a step ahead of you. I think he's one of the great coaches in college football that doesn't get nearly enough recognition.
Yeah, boy, they put a lot of guys in pro football as well, and so that he can develop, because to your point, he doesn't get 5-star guys. All right, Matt Rhule, Nebraska. Let's see, they play, Deion Sanders, week 2. That's a lot of glamour and cowboy hats. Have you looked at their tape? Are they any? What am I supposed to expect from that game?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've followed it from afar, because they do such a good job of filming everything, and I think it's good for football right now. College football can't just be like in the Southeast and a couple schools in the North. It's got to be what Lincoln's doing at USC, what Coach Sanders is doing at Colorado. Hopefully, what we're doing in the middle of the country. Like, this has to be a nationwide thing. And so you can tell from the Deion and his staff they're going to recruit relentlessly, and they're going to have their team ready to play. It'll be a great, great game. And to think that Nebraska, Colorado is relevant again, will be on national TV I think that's pretty cool for the game.
Great stuff. Matt Rhule, Nebraska football head coach. Great seeing you. Good luck. I'll be watching. The Big Ten next year expands, I think, very favorably. I think it will be a multiple time zone conference. You can watch it all day, and I can't wait for it. Matt, good luck to you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.